Live, just so you know. All right, guys, this is the second live today because the first one was short. We started talking about the hostage release this morning. That was this morning, Israel time. By the way, the 12 p.m. ultimatum deadline has passed. It got also Israel time, also American time. So don't know what's going to happen there regarding Trump's ultimatum. And anyway, I'm going to wait for a few of you to get online while I check some more things. Okay. So anyway, I thought today that what I would do is, or just for this one, and I'm going to have to also keep this one short like the other one, the one this morning, but let's look at the good, the bad, and the ugly, because, as usual, you have got, in terms of these releases, you've got the good. So let's take a look at some of the moments of, for instance, when these hostages first get their family. That is Sagi Dekel Chen seeing his wife for the first time in 498 days, and his parents. I tell you that I have a suspicion, this has not been said, but that his right hand or arm is not functioning well. So there's his wife telling him that, yeah, your third daughter was born, and I called her. Her name is Shachar Mazel, or Mazet, which is like Shachar is sunrise. Boy, I can't remember that now. And Mazal is luck. So anyway, so he finds out that his third daughter was born like just right after he was kidnapped, like 2 months after or something. Okay, so and this was when they rode the helicopter from the base where after they got out of Gaza, and they met an army base, and then they get a helicopter from there. So after they met, they get the helicopter, they go to a local hospital. So he's using his left hand, by the way, for a lot of the shaking. So anyway, that's something I noticed. Okay. Wow. I didn't mean to stop sharing. What I meant to do was switch screens. Let's see another one. Okay. This is Alexander Sasha Trufonov meeting his girlfriend and his mother. She says, "You know what kind of a strong woman you have here. This mother of yours is a strong mother." Okay, let's get another one. And here is the third hostage. I'm not sure if you pronounce his name Yair or Iar. He's from Argentina. That's him in gray. And his brother looks exactly like him. They all have really interesting stories. He leaves behind a brother in Gaza. His brother is still there and not due to be released in this round. Also, Alexander Trufonov only found out after he returned today that his father was killed. We learned from this round of hostages a lot quicker about the conditions of their captivity. And though they don't appear as bad as if you saw the previous three that returned, they looked really bad. They were emaciated. They were pale, skeletal, actually looking. Looked a little bit haunted. Doesn't sound like though their situation was much better. They were kept alone. I mean, some of them were kept alone separately. They were in tunnels most of the time, stuff like that. Wait a second, we're having people come into the house right now. Hello. No, it's all right. Daniel, hi. Are you happy now? You happy now? Yeah? Okay, good. All right, Daniel just got home. Daniel was at Shalva this weekend. And more on Shalva another time, not today. Okay, so they were harshly interrogated. Especially apparently Sagi Dekelchen was harshly interrogated, and they were not taken care of medically if they needed to have been. So anyway, so that was but what you saw there was the good. Now let's talk about. I just started talking about the bad, and then we're going to talk to the political. Now there's Raya. Okay. So I said this in the first one. I think I threw my notes in the garbage. They're right at the top of the garbage. I had written down what was okay. So, oh my God, that's right. Oh my God. Okay, the bad. Yeah, here comes the bad. Well, everybody gets goodie bags when they leave Hamas captivity. Oh my God. Everybody just freaked out. By the way, there was an ambulance that just went off, and the first literal split second of the siren sounds like the siren telling you that there's a rocket coming. But it was not. We all looked at each other. We literally all just looked like, are we running? Can I bring my computer? Okay, so anyway. Okay, so a few of the bad was that oh man, what was I going to say? It wasn't about the sign, but I'll tell you about the sign. And oh no, the goodie bag. Yes, the goodie bag. Right. By the way, feel free to remind me in the chat if I forget anything. What? Not right now, but save me one, please, guys. Okay, so the goodie bags. In the goodie bags, one of them received an hourglass, with sand when you turn it over, and it says, and there was a message for one of the hostages, time is running out. And I said in the previous one that that they had this Islamic Jihad was holding Alexander, and Hamas was holding the other two. And Islamic Jihad released a video this morning of Alex Chupanov walking along the coast of Gaza, walking along the Mediterranean and fishing and skipping rocks and eating a banana of all things, healthy and fresh. Right. And so showing he's doing great. He was at Club Med, actually. Trump doesn't need to take over Gaza. It's we already got it under control. We got our own little spa going on. So anyway, so that was that. And then they released another video of, Hamas released a video of the other ones, of the other two, Yair and Sagi. And in it, again, Sagi, by the way, was writing with his left hand. When I do lives at night, this happens to me. I can't talk. Hold on. I just bought honey. and I'm going to try it. All right. All right. So in that, they said they were saying the same things, that time is running out. Like we're left alone. We're out. We're in the darkness, things like that. These are the things that they were saying in the video. And presumably it's like a message from Hamas to to Israel to like let everybody out, to let anyway. So that video will probably not be approved by the families to to be played anywhere. Hold on. All right. So anyway, so that's that. So the other bad, well, the honey may have worked. I can only pray. Hamas's message in this last thing was the sign that they had on the stage was it said migration is to Jerusalem. So that was a very clear jab at President Trump, saying like, yeah, we're not going anywhere except Jerusalem. Like, you're telling us to go south to Egypt or to like hop over to Jordan, but no, like we started this thing by calling it Al-Aqsa flood, which, you know, which is like he's saying like we're going to get to Jerusalem, to the Al-Aqsa mosque, and we're going to finish it like that. So that's basically, that was their message to Trump. Now, one of the reasons that I'm doing this tonight is because of the Trump ultimatum, by the way, because somebody was asking this morning, like, well, what's going to happen? Like, what about 12? And, you know, so 12 came and went here in Israel, but then we're like, oh, maybe he meant 12 American time. And now 12, you know, that was 2 hours ago, at least East Coast. I mean, we have another hour to go, unless if he meant West Coast time, but where Trump had quite a few statements. So, but let me tell you some more of the ugly before we get to the politics. So while Hamas has its own spectacle every week of releasing the prisoners, and it's just somehow they have this whole production, literally like the media that they have, their social media team is amazing. They've got cameras. They even had a drone shot. They have a new banner printed out every week for their stage, and you know, it's just amazing that they can do all this. So they did that again. But Israel this week also did its own thing, which actually already met with some pushback from the Israeli media itself. But when the Israeli hostages are released, there's also Palestinian prisoners are released. So today there were almost 400 Palestinian prisoners released, and the Israel Prison Service dressed them in these sweatshirts that said in Hebrew and Arabic, we will not forget, we will not forgive. And it had the symbol, it had the Magen David, the Jewish star, and it also had the symbol of the Shin Bet, the, you know, Shabak, the Shabak, the Israel's internal security service, and sent them in these. So these are obviously like this was the most of the prisoners in one round that has blood on their hands, that has like is serving a life sentence, and also many, I think 300 of them that were involved in October 7th and or that were released to Gaza, some of them that were involved in October 7th. So what the Palestinians did is, as soon as they got to wherever they were going, whether it was Ramallah, Jerusalem, or Gaza, they took off their sweatshirts and and they burned them. So anyway, so that's what that is definitely going to get pushed back today. Now, I also saw that I'm never going to find it now. Here's a picture. Hi, Josh. Okay, so we will never forgive. We will never forget. So anyway, this was the Islamic Jihad had a whole thing about that, calling it fascist and racist and everything. And I think Hamas had a similar statement. And actually, the Israeli media was also like, what do we like? Like that's so statesmanlike. Like it's so unprofessional. It's like, if you want to say you're better than them, be better than them. So anyway, so that was fascinating. All right, so now let's just talk about the what's happening with the politics, and then that's it. Let's see. I had some good notes here. Okay, so what you guys heard in America, you heard that it was after the meeting with Netanyahu that Donald Trump actually said there is going to be all hell to pay if all the hostages aren't released by Saturday. Now, what that was, that followed a back and forth that was going on between Israel and Hamas. Like this was the week where if it was going to fail, it was going to be this week, this ceasefire. The ceasefire is like this very tenuous thing, agreement where like anything could actually like blow it up in a second. Honestly, there's just like people aren't. It's to wait a whole week for the hostages, and this is the week that Israel withdrew, the army withdrew from Gaza completely, and so there's just like anything could go wrong. They said like, oh, there's like Israel said, oh, but the Palestinians are approaching the border, or they said, oh, they're in Rafah, this or that, or there's a drone, or there's a rocket, or whatever, and so anyways, so it was going back and forth, and so at some point. They were threatening to cancel a ceasefire, and it was at that point when they were threatening to cancel, like both Hamas and Israel were not going to move forward with it, where Trump said just return all the hostages, and then he put a Saturday ultimatum. Now, Saturday by noon is usually a time that the 3 hostages are released in this very dragged out, ridiculous hostage release, prisoner release deal that's going on. So I don't know why he specifically threw out Saturday noon. And then, of course, he didn't specify Saturday noon where. And anyway, I will tell you that here in Israel, as far as like listening to the people here, no, but I mean, the first day people were like, wow. And then after that, nobody seemed to take it seriously that was actually going to happen. And though maybe you guys didn't hear, any follow up to that here, it was what we heard here was just all about the back and forth with the negotiating team and saying, okay, like, just go forward with the deal, go forward. And I don't think, Hamas didn't for a second, actually for Hamas, it was to go from all back to the 3 was a great deal. That was the art of the deal for Hamas, actually, because they just said, okay, we'll do the 3. We'll do the 3 that we're just going to go by the plan. This was the plan we all agreed to. We're going to stick to the plan. And Israel said, yeah, we're going to stick to the plan. So in the end, everybody just stuck to the plan. And let me see. I have the Donald Trump's quote from today. He just put this out. He put this out today. Hamas has just released 3 hostages from Gaza, including an American citizen. They seem to be in good shape. This differs from their statement last week that they would not release any hostages. Israel will now have to decide what they will do about the 12 o'clock today deadline imposed on the release of all hostages. The United States will back the decision they make. So I have to say, I don't understand what the 12 o'clock today deadline on the release of all hostages was. Only ever his statement. It wasn't actually an agreement, or it was his deadline. And so now but what could happen from that? And you see, he says the United States will back the decision they make, where I think he's talking about Israel. And this basically gives Netanyahu a green light, where if he wants to go back to the war, like if he says that he should, that military operation is necessary, and that's what Israel prefers, he's basically backing him for that. So I can tell you that probably most of Israel is against that at this point, and more Israelis want a deal to go through. Now, what did happen, though, is that this all hostages statement has ignited the hostage families movement and the protests to call for all hostages to be released in the second phase of the deal. I think we're nearing the end of the first phase. We've got how many do we have left? I don't remember how many we have left. I'm sorry about that, but we have about maybe more than 8, and maybe it's about 13 or something. I think we've got about 13 left in this first phase of the deal. And actually, we have there's still 73 hostages in Gaza. Of that, I think 13 will be. I think in the end, 59 are going to be left. It's something like that, like 59. After phase 1 is done, there will still be 59, some of whom are not alive. So anyway, they're starting now. Now the question is whether or not they even start negotiating on phase 2, because phase 2 will be more complicated. First of all, because the hostages remaining are all Israeli men, and some of them are soldiers. And also because the sticking point is, will Hamas remain in power? Will they be the governing authority in Gaza? So that is because Israel does not want that, and Hamas does. So that's going to be the big problem for phase 2. But what this has done, the statement to free them all today by noon, has gotten all of the has kind of galvanized the movement to protest and to demand, at least here in Israel, for the release of all at once. Now, yeah, I see Terry Ann also saw that Trump say all free today or else. Exactly. But it's, the day is ending here. It's not going to happen. I can tell you that much. It's just a matter of whether the cabinet, which is meeting right now, there's like an emergency security cabinet meeting. Will they decide that, okay, they weren't all released today, let's go to war? But there was never an agreement to release them all today. It was just Trump's ultimatum. So I don't know if anything is gonna, if anything's gonna come of that. But all right, Josh, go for it. You can write it there. And I'm just gonna say one more thing about the just in general, just something that I've noticed, that this is absolutely fascinating to be sitting here in Jerusalem. And you hear like the news you hear the hostage families, and they're always saying, thank you, President Trump. Thank you, Trump, Mr. Trump. And they are addressing a foreign leader, and they're addressing the American president. And they never did that with Biden. And they're not really doing that with Netanyahu, at least not in a positive way. So Trump is getting 100% of the credit for any of the hostages that have been released. He's getting the credit for that. Biden, not at all. Biden didn't. The same deal could have been made in May, and there would have been more living hostages at the time. Many, at least 6 were killed since then, probably more. And there would have been more that have come out alive. And but since Trump got into, well, actually, even during the campaign, he was talking about this. But since November, that's when the discussions started getting serious. And there was pressure on both Israel and Hamas that Trump is serious and he wants hostages released. So anyway, so that's that. Guys, what else? Let me see. Whoa, guys, quiet what there. What else? Oh, that's me. I was just looking to see. Okay, yes, there's your comment, Josh. I was looking to check on Facebook. Okay, Chance talks about Palestinians living under the evil regime of Hamas. Have any Palestinians that have gotten out of Gaza been interviewed as saying that they lived under fear and oppression of the horrible regime? I think it would be powerful to demonstrate to sympathizers in America if this could be pointed to for reference. So, that's a great question. And there's obviously there are people in Gaza right now who criticize Hamas and don't support Hamas, but for many reasons their voice is not heard. Number one, fear. Number two, the media. On the other hand, I have to say, and I'm talking about people in Gaza, I'm not talking about people out of Gaza, that there are also a large number. And, I can't throw out numbers like, is it 50%? Is it a majority? Is it 90%? That they hate Israel more than they hate Hamas. And many of them support Hamas. And Hamas did win the elections back in 2007. And I'm, they're definitely suffered from protests, and there was a time that they were going like in the last 10 years where the Palestinians were protesting and were opposing Hamas, but it's a very dictatorial regime there, and they were they quashed any opposition that was in Gaza. So at the same time, the Palestinians in Gaza and in the West Bank, it's their land is their land, and that's where they want to live. So that's part of it's part of their ethos is the land that they live on, and so they're not necessarily going to go elsewhere. So they don't want to go. I think most of the Palestinians, I think most of the Gazans actually don't want to go. So, and it is what you hear in a lot of these interviews. I know there are others who probably do, and I really have no way of knowing what the numbers are. How many want to leave? How many want to stay? How many want Hamas out? How many are right now supporting Hamas because of what they're doing against Israel? Really, I don't know the numbers, and I don't know of any instances, but let's all be on the lookout for that if anybody got out and if they're saying this is what's really happening in Gaza. So, I mean, for sure, everybody knows, it's almost like no secret that they are controlling like the humanitarian aid that's going in, and people aren't getting as much as they should. But it's not out there. It's not widely out there, and I don't think it's a thing that's gonna necessarily break them and change opinions. By the way, they were just showing on the news that of the Palestinian prisoners released, they were involved in the ones that were released today in a bombing. Actually, the Cafe Hillel bombing. I remember I was here for that. I actually. It was 2003, and I remember the Cafe Hillel bombing on Emek Rafaim in the German colony. I was walking around near the German colony. I was walking down Emek Rafaim, and I remember this kid, probably like 19, 20-year-old, skinny, wearing a black shirt and holding an apron in his hand and running past me. Like I was walking toward it and he was running the other direction. And I just didn't think of it at the time. It was like a few seconds later, it was like where I realized that he was probably running from the bombing. And I wonder if he was a worker there. And I mean, I'll never know, but I do. So I was there going there as a reporter, and I was like on my way there. But anyway, so that's one of the one of the cases, one of the prisoners being released today had to do with planning that bombing. And they're also showing on the news right now the mass burning of the Israeli prison sweatshirts that has gone on around the West Bank and Gaza. So 300 and 60 sweatshirts, burned. And I actually had a friend who's Israeli message me today, and she's like, as a journalist, can you please find out for me what is the deal with the sweatshirts? Who approved the statement? And she said, she's a believer, and she said, it's one thing to not forget, but not forgive should not be part of our theology in this country whatsoever. So she was really upset about that. And anyway, it turns out that when I started digging into it, a lot of Israelis are upset about it. And they think it's just like really disgusting that they would put something like that. I mean, it's one thing, like we've come to know and expect the Hamas spectacle every week on their new stage, their new backdrop, their, pressed uniforms and washed cars and everything like that. And that's like, we kind of expected the goodie bags with now gifts that are messages for people. But we, did I don't think Israelis expected to see that coming out of their own. But anyway, so, all right, well, that's it. That is it for now. I'm gonna wrap this up. Josh, I don't know if I answered your question, but I have to say it was much less expected. The ultimatum was not expected to go on here. So you guys missed a few news cycles, but for us, it's like, we sorted that out. That's not really going to happen. And we kind of knew that going into today, which I guess, but you were on the edge of your seat waiting for all the hostages to be released. I know, because nobody followed up with the news cycle. Oh my God, I'm sorry. Yeah. Right. I know that guy. I know of that guy. Yeah, but though he has those opinion, like that is, he's one of those, but he's rare. This the one you're talking about, who wrote that book, that is the name of the book. He's rare, and most people don't agree with him. But anyway, be on the edge of your seat next Saturday, because you never know. Like, maybe next Saturday there will be more releases, but I don't know if there will be all. I think all. And the thing is, here it's like every day is like up and down, up and down. Like, it's going to be released, not going to be released. You violated ceasefire, you didn't. Speaking of which, and I'm not getting into this now because I'm going to go. We got to get ready. Lucas has got to go on a trip tomorrow, school trip and everything. Lebanon is going crazy. There's Hezbollah is protesting. I think they even shot at, like, some of their supporters shot at like a UNIFIL patrol, like the UN interim force in Lebanon patrol that was there. And it's just like, it's getting, so it's going to be time to shift focus again and to see what's going on. Also, what's going on in Syria, I don't know. And you know what? It's like, when your kids are quiet, that's when you know to worry. So anyway, we need to pay a little bit of attention. Oh man, I wish you guys could see, but on the news, they're showing like the kids of one of the hostages. She had like this single mother for a year and a half, had 3 baby girls, and they would look at their father's poster, the kidnap poster, like everywhere they went. They'd be like, oh, that's dad. Anyway, they're showing now. So at least the family gets to be reunited. Not every family can be. But anyway, there was good news and bad news today. Good news and bad news last time. I mean, it's just unbelievable. All right. Oh, Craig. Hi, Craig. Good to see you too. Awesome. All right. Well, anyway, thank you for tuning in. And if you're on the edge of your seat with the news, just send me a message and I'll do a live and try to figure it out with you.